Hi friends, I wanted to post today's video just a little bit early on Holy Saturday because in the past year, Holy Saturday has become incredibly significant to me personally. Last year, on Holy Saturday, the day before Easter, I was actually down in Maryland with my family, gathered around my father as he died. And so this year, for me, is actually the second year where Easter has come and it has not had the same vibrancy and celebration and sheer delight that it often has. And yet, even though my father died last year, the day before Easter, it did not steal Easter from me. In fact, last year, I believe that Easter became more important to me than perhaps it ever had before. When my father died, it put the world into a little bit of a haze. It made everything somewhat blurry for a while in life. I remember things that I absolutely loved just didn't seem to have the same sparkle to them. One day, shortly after my dad died, I just decided to get up and go fishing, and I remember being out on the water just a few minutes when I thought to myself, I don't like this, I don't want to be here, and I turned around and just went home. I absolutely love fishing, but in that time, shortly after my father had passed away, everything just seemed a bit more gray and dull and less enjoyable. And yet, I'll reiterate again, the Easter immediately after, the day after my father died, became perhaps the most significant Easter that I've lived to date. As my father passed away, I remember thinking how my mind was flooded with the promises of what this season brings and the hope that it offers. On Holy Saturday, the day that my dad died, for example, is the day that the church remembers Christ being in the grave. But as he was in the grave, he was not quiet and he was not still. In fact, Christ was down among the dead, breaking the gates of hell and bringing all of the dead to himself. And so on Holy Saturday, we as a church remember the day when Christ went and liberated all those who had died. We remember on Holy Saturday that those who are dead are not lost to our God. And so Holy Saturday gives me the confident hope that my father is in the care and the promise of God, that he enjoys God's victory of Easter even as we speak now. And then, as we move into Easter Sunday, something absolutely remarkable happens. Jesus, who was dead, walks out of the grave, alive in a body anew. On Easter morning, Jesus showcases the bodies that we were meant to have, bodies that do not get hurt, that do not grow weary, that do not get ill, that do not get viruses, that do not have cancer, that do not degrade, bodies that do not die. And on Easter morning, Jesus gives us a taste of the body that we too will one day have. And so, in this time, while the world is a bit gloomy and dim, while we may be sad that we're not able to be together on Easter morning in the way that we usually are, perhaps this year is an opportunity for us to recognize and appreciate the promise and the hope that Easter gives us in a way that we often are not able to do. Sometimes all of the celebration and the egg hunts and the food and just the bursting excitement of Easter, I think that can actually distract us from the hope that we so desperately need that lies at its core. And so it is my prayer that in this time, on these days of Triduum and in this season of Easter, as we are apart and as we are not able to participate in some of those other things that we so often love to be a part of, that might peel back the layers of distraction that often keep us from the central hope of Easter, and that might help us to focus in this gloomy time all the more on the God who truly is our help and our confidence, on the God who can do what medicine and politics and universities and everything else are simply unable to do. Hopefully, in this Easter season, we might focus on the God who beat even death itself, and who has promised that one day we too with all the faithful, will rise again in bodies anew, where death is a thing of the past, and life is forever in our future. God bless you, dear friends, and happy Easter, and may you know the hope and the promise of God today more than ever.